Welcome back. We have our studio guest right here, Demola Ogunbona. It's been a while. Good morning. It's good to have you join us.
It has been. Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, you guys can talk to us on our Twitter handle. I mean, the Europa League was yesterday, and Manchester United could not win at Old Trafford. It was a draw. And of course, Harry Maguire, miss of the century. That's what you call that. They just couldn't win. So what's going to happen to United? Will they crash out next week when they go to San Siro to face AC Milan? Talk to us about that. Of course, this weekend, Arsenal, Tottenham, they're all in action in the Premier League. Tell us about that, what you think about the Arsenal run. They were able to win their game against Olympiacos 3-1 away from home, which was really cool. And, of course, Tottenham also winning at home. Also, the Nigerian Women's Football League is still on. Rivers Angels still unbeaten. Will FC Robo be able to end their run? Well, that's going to be next week. Talk to us about that. And of course, the CAF election is today. Also, FIFA election. Amaji Pinnick trying to get into the seat of the FIFA Council. Those are the things we'll be talking about on the program today. But for the CAF election, we'll not be doing all the talking alone. An Egyptian journalist, Amin Fahmy, will be joining us to talk about this, what's happening in CAF. He's right there in Cairo. He will be joining us to talk about these elections, talking about the CAF Executive Committee elections, of course, the FIFA Council elections are both holding today. So when Amin is ready, we'll be able to take him to tell us about this election. So quickly, Demola, I mean, we have elections. The one of the CAF, of course, we already know, yes, is a selection. You already have a candidate.
Yes.
It's just for him to...
It's just an announcement.
An announcement, right? So we're waiting for the announcement. What do you think?
Yes, we're waiting for it. And I think it's a good one for the South African, Patrice Motsepe. He's also the owner of Mamelodi Sundowns, and they're doing pretty well in the South African League, top in the league as it is. And I think he will bring his world of experience into the position, especially when it comes to finance, which is where most Africans have been clamoring for that they are not representing us in good light. So with his world of experience, let's hope that his 4-year tenure will, yield something good for African football.
All right, let's bring Amir Fahmy into the discussion right about now. Greetings to you, Amir. Thanks for joining us on the show this morning. We'll feel very honored to have you with us this morning.
Good morning. A pleasure is all mine. I'm very pleased to be with you.
All right, let's just dive straight into it. I'm here with my colleague Cecilia Omorogwe and, of course, a friend of the house, Ademola Ogunbona. We're going to be trying to share ideas on what we think will happen today. First, I want to get your thoughts on the elections, not just for the CAF presidency, for those striving to get on the FIFA Council. How do you think all of these things will play out today?
Well, actually, it's a bit different, because the elections for the presidency is already done. It's just like assuring that Patrice Motsepe is going to be the next CAF president, because there is no one running for the position other than him. And actually, it's a new phase for African football, because it's the first time that an Anglophone or an English-speaking president is taking over the Confederation of African Football. While in the FIFA Council, it's a little bit tricky, especially in the Anglophone seat, because it's not easy to know if who is going to win, because Amaju Melvin Pinnick of Nigeria actually is the hot favorite, but also there are very big names, especially Walter Nyamilando of Malawi, who is already the outgoing FIFA Council member, and who has already a good backing in the southern part of the continent. We have to recall that he already defeated Danny Jordan of South Africa 3 years ago. So it's not going to be an easy election, and I think the Anglophone seat for the FIFA Council is the one to watch during this election. However, in the Arabic, Spanish, Portuguese bloc, it's quite easy to guess who is going to win. Of course, Fawzi Lakja of Morocco, and mainly Hani Abu Rida of Egypt, as Khaireddin Zetchi of Algeria is going to withdraw in the last minute, as far as we know. And for the Francophone seat, it's also between two candidates. And as we know that Constant Omari of DR Congo is not eligible for another term, so he will not be there, and both candidates are going to take the seat. So I think the Anglophone seats, the battle which Amaju Melvin Pinnick is going to be in, is the hottest battle. And the CAF presidency is already done, and we know that since it's an English-speaking president, so he took one slot from the two seats for the Anglophone Africa. So it will be a very tough battle, I think.
Let me just ask you this one quickly. Do you think that, I know we're a few hours before the elections, do you see people stepping down? Do you see a situation where, just like in the case of the CAF presidency, the election, a lot of people stepping down? We've also heard that one or two people have stepped down in the hotly contested seats that you've already talked about. So a few hours to the election, do you see some people stepping down for one of the major candidates?
Well, actually, it always happens in Africa. There are always some last minute stepping down from here and there, but it's very complicated in the Anglophone bloc. I think. Maybe there might be some kind of agreement between Nyamilando and the Zambian candidate Andrew Kamanga. We have also to bear into consideration that Nyamilando was a close friend to Ahmad, the former CAF president, and maybe he's not now very wanted or very desired to be there as everybody wants to be a part of Ahmad reign. So maybe I think he can withdraw, but I don't see it happen. Actually, I expect a very tough election, but I expect Amaju Melvin Pinnick to clinch the seat because Nigeria is a very big country in Africa, and they have a lot of influence, and also several major African footballing countries have expressed their backing for Pinnick's bid. And the way that he got away from the position as a CAF vice president like a year ago maybe got him some sympathy, some credibility, and I think he will use this for a new era of African football. And I think he also has good connections with the new CAF president, Patrice Motsepe, so that will definitely help.
Okay, talking about Motsepe, I mean, we know that for 6 months, FIFA had to put in some people, talking about the Secretary General, Fatma, to actually take charge, to oversee the governance of CAF and all that. And everyone at that time were talking about the CAF is actually weakened right now because of the influence of FIFA. Now you're going to be having a candidate that specifically be selected to become the next president. How much influence will FIFA have on CAF when Motsepe becomes the president of CAF president?
Well, that's a very good question, because actually, even if we imagine that it's a fair election and FIFA didn't interfere at all, even if we imagine that scenario, we will find that it's a bit complicated because Patrice Motsepe is a very busy man. He's a mining tycoon in South Africa. He's always there in Davos Forum, and then he has a lot of business to foresee, and he's not going to be involved in the day-to-day governance of CAF. So I think that will leave his previous two rivals, and now his two vice presidents, Ahmad Wald Yahya of Mauritania and Augustin Senghor of Senegal. They will be more and more involved in the day-to-day action and the day-to-day governance of CAF. He will not be there all the time, I think. And for the FIFA interference between brackets in African football, I think this is a very important concern. And I think Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, will not be interested in being portrayed as the actual governor of African football. So I think because of all what was being said in the media, he will leave some authority to Africans themselves to govern their football in the coming few months at least. He knows that everybody is saying that he's now governing the African football, and some people are going even further than that, and they say it's the FIFA colonialism of African football. But he is aware of that, so he just doesn't want problems, and I think he will to avoid some criticism. He will leave some big room for Africa, for the new elected administration to take some decisions. But as I said, it will not be Motsepe as the man involved in the day-to-day policies and the day-to-day decisions. It will be mainly his two vice presidents, Augustin Senghor and Ahmad Wald Yahya.
All right. Since we can take it for granted that Patrice Motsepe is the new CAF president, since we can take it for granted, unless something, I don't even think anything could happen. What are the areas you think should get his attention? What are the things you think straight away he would want to tackle as the CAF president? He has said a lot. We know his manifesto. He has said, but which are the areas you think should get his immediate attention?
Well, actually, I think there are two main concerns for the new CAF presidents. First of all, it's the transparency, fighting corruption, because when Ahmad was elected 4 years ago in Addis Ababa in that General Assembly, I remember that he made a promise to fight corruption. And like less than 4 years later, he was already suspended by FIFA for breaching the ethics code. So it's very complicated. But I think the profile of Patrice Motsepe can make us a little bit optimistic about that, because the man doesn't need money. He doesn't need to use any funds of CAF or to use any kind of money from CAF. So I think in the material of fighting corruption, I think he can really do it. The other thing, which is really tricky, and it needs a lot of experience in how the African football is run, is the way that African competitions, both for clubs and nations, are being run. Over the years we have watched some differences in the CAF Champions League. Sometimes they say, okay, it's a one-match final. Some other times, no, two-legged finals. And even with the coronavirus, it was trickier and trickier. Even for the African Nations Cup, we have seen the last edition was held in Egypt here in the summer, and now the next edition, Cameroon, was moved back to winter as it was always held. So there was some inconsistency with with African competitions, and that was very bad for the image of African football and the way that African football is being administrated. So I think this is a very important thing, and it has to be a main concern for the Motsepe's administration to have a stable and a consistent agenda for African football competitions, so that we can generate more revenues from marketing, and we can gain better reputation. And I think this is something that he has to care about, along with fighting corruption.
All right, Amir Fahmi, we want to thank you for your time on the show today. It was nice having your input on the CAF elections. Hopefully we get to do this again some other time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So that's Amir Fahmi, of African football expert based in Cairo. Ademola, let's just, you've listened to him, yes. And I feel from your body language, your opinions are not too far away from some of the things he said.
Absolutely. I mean, the man his profile comes in very huge and very handy as well.
The billionaire doesn't
he's a billionaire, doesn't need the money. We hope that there won't be conflict of interest with his clubs, Sundowns, but we expect that he will bring his experience to the fore and bring...
attract sponsors.
Of course, and then a better image for African football as well. So we will have better representation as well, because, he has the connections.
Okay. So. Yeah, hopefully he gets to do that. Well, let's listen to Pinnick, talking about, the FIFA Council election.